Welcome to Online Business Loans How to Compare Options. I'm Jerry Detweiler with NAV, and I'm excited to be with you here today. So, we're going to talk primarily today about online business loans because online loan shopping has become very popular with business owners. In fact, I saw one article that talked about an online lender who said that somewhere around a third of their applications came in overnight. So, business owners like yourself are probably super busy. You have so many things to do during the day, and it may be in the middle of the night that you finally get the time to sit down and look at lending options. And so online loans have become very popular for that. Now, a true online business loan usually refers to one that is processed fully online. So you go online, apply, you get a decision, the money gets deposited in your bank account. There are hybrid versions where you start the process online and then later you end up filling out paperwork. A lot of banks will do that where you can express your initial interest online, but then you actually end up filling out paperwork offline in order to complete the application process. But today we're going to focus primarily on those true online loans. So the first benefit is that they are very quick. In many times, you can get a decision within minutes, sometimes hours. Once in a while, it'll be a couple days because you might need to upload some verifying documentation that they can use to verify the details you provided about your business. But very often, it's a very, very fast process. And as I mentioned, it happens on your time schedule. So you're not worried about banker's hours or business hours because you're able to apply 24/7. Typically, there is less effort and documentation. Now, that doesn't mean there's no documentation or no effort because you probably will have to supply some information to document some of the process. For example, you might need to link your bank account so they can verify your revenues. That might be an example. You might need to upload a copy of a photo ID so they can verify that you are who you say you are and that it's not a fraudulent application. So there will be some effort involved, but it's typically less than if you had to go back and forth to, the bank and fill out paperwork, come back, bring it back, etc. And then there's lots of different online loans. So there's not one single product that you're searching for online, but in fact, there are many, many different products, and we'll touch on those here in just a moment. All right. So the first thing, if you're thinking about shopping for business financing, and this is really true whether it's online or not, but the first is that you want to figure out what type of funding do you need. And there are so many different types of financing available. I'm going to touch on these real quickly. We do have a separate presentation that goes into detail about the different types of financing, how to qualify, and when they make sense for different businesses. So if you're still confused about what type of financing you want to get, you want to watch that presentation as well. But the quick overview is you're probably looking at things like term loans. That's where you borrow a fixed amount of money for a specific project and you pay it back in a fixed amount of time. You might be looking for a line of credit, which is like your credit card, but maybe with or without a plastic card attached, where you borrow the money when you need it. Invoice factoring, that's for businesses that do business with other businesses, so B2B businesses, where you're going to collect on the invoice that your client or customer owes you more quickly. Though the intermediary will front you most of the money and then either collect or let you pay it back when you get the rest of the invoice paid. There are unsecured and secured business loans available online. So some may involve collateral, some may not, but collateral is not necessarily a requirement. And then merchant cash advances. That's for if your business does a lot of credit or debit card sales, then that's where you can get advanced based on your past history of those types of sales. You can get advanced money, and then the repayment will come out of future sales that are processed by credit or debit card. And then microloans, which are small loans, maybe as little as $500 to $5,000. Maximum in this category is probably $50,000. But those are smaller loans that can be processed fully online. So there are pros and cons to each type of loan, and it can be confusing when you're shopping online. So when you are looking online, you want to look at what are they offering me? How long will it take? Will I have to pay? Will I have? How long will the repayment period be as they have to pay it back? How long will they give you to pay it back? So will it be short term, 6 months, long term, longer term, 2 years, for example? And what will the cost be? So knowing that just helps you sort through your options. Now, you also need to very carefully evaluate the factors that are involved in the financing. Cost is very important. Some online loans can be very expensive. And so, typically, with an online lender, you're gaining speed and you're paying additional for that speed. And you're also probably gaining more flexibility. So if you've seen our full presentation on the types of business loans out there, bank and traditional financial institution loans are the hardest and most involved to get. They take the longest. So when you go online, it's shorter, but it's probably a little bit more expensive. Sometimes a lot more expensive. It just depends on the lender. So you do want to really understand the cost of that financing. And if it's not clear to you, we do have free calculators at NAV. Just go to nav.com/calculator, and you can use these calculators to translate the cost of the financing you're considering into an APR. So an example would be you get offered a loan or an advance with a factor rate of 1.2. And that's not an interest rate of 1.2%. It's a different calculation. So you could plug that into one of these calculators, and based on the repayment schedule, you might be looking at an APR, annual percentage rate, of 12% or 20% or 70%, depending on the financing that's available. So that can be a helpful tool for you. The other thing is trying to understand the qualifications. So, what is the lender looking for? And some lenders do a pretty good job of this. They'll publish their minimum credit score requirements, for example. They might publish their minimum time in business requirements, or they might publish their revenue requirements. So, for example, they might say you must have at least $50,000 in revenue in the past year. You must be in business for at least 18 months, or you must have a minimum personal credit score of 650. It does vary. And not all lenders are completely transparent with that information. So I'll give you a tool for in a moment that may help you sort through which loans you're more qualified for. And then you really want to understand what the requirements are. Quite a few lenders these days are going to ask for business bank statements. And they can do that either by letting you upload your most recent 3 to 6 months of business bank statements, or by asking you to link your bank account so they can review that information and verify if you're saying that you're making an average of, I don't know, $10,000 a month, that they can verify that that's the case and they can analyze that revenue. So you do want to look at that. And as I've said so many times in so many of my presentations, if you don't have a business bank account, that's going to be absolutely critical to you getting financing. So make sure that you are working from a business bank account for your business. The other thing is you probably will have to provide an EIN, employer identification number, or a taxpayer identification number. This is like your social security number for your business. And the IRS doesn't require it in every instance, but sometimes it is required. And so you would need to secure that in advance. So I do recommend you go ahead and do that before you start applying if possible, because you may need to supply that. A few lenders will let you use the social security number, but then you're just using your personal credit to qualify. And I know many of you want to get away from that. All right, so choosing online lenders, you do need to be very careful. There are some scams out there, and there's also some products that just may not be the best that you can qualify for. So, as you're researching this, understand whether you're going to a specific lender versus someone who's going to match you to a lender. And that can be important if, for example, you want to shop around and see the different options that are available based on your qualifications versus just what this one lender offers. So the online lender may have a couple different products, but they're all their products, and there's maybe 2, 3, 4 products. A marketplace, something like NAV, and that's where I work, will help you shop among different lenders by matching your qualifications to different lenders. So you can see what else is out there based on your qualifications. So that may be a way for you to save time and also help you feel more confident that you're dealing with reputable lenders and also with a secure platform, and then with the ability to shop around. Now, trust is really, really important. One of the most popular articles I've written for the NAB blog is how to vet a lender, because there are scammers online, and sometimes they have beautiful websites that look very, very professional, but they're just trying to either collect your personal information for their nefarious purposes, or they are going to say, "Oh yes, we can give you a loan, and what we need is the first 3 monthly payments up front as security, or we need you to pay this insurance fee up front so we can insure the loan." And then, typically in those instances where it's a scam, they'll ask you to get a prepaid card and give them the information from the prepaid card, and you'll never get a loan. So you do have to be very careful that you're dealing with a secure lender. So I'll remember, if you've ever seen the tip, you look at the top of your browser and there's that little padlock, and you want to make sure that's locked and that it is a secure website. You want to look at any security credentials that they provide. Another tip that I like to do if I'm not sure about a website is I'll look at the domain name registration, which you can actually do quite easily. You just say, look up domain registration, you type in the URL, and you see who owns that domain name and how long have they been around. Because sometimes you'll find scammers will have a beautiful website, but it's only been around for 6 months. All the domain information is private, so you can't tell where they're based, whether they're based in any country in the world or who owns it. And that's kind of a red flag, of course. So those are a few things that you can do to make sure you're dealing with an online lender or marketplace that's reputable. Now, I will give a plug for NAV, and that is that we're a marketplace. So we're going to match you to different lending options based on your qualifications. We won't sell your information to lenders. So it's not like one of those services where you fill out a form and suddenly you're getting bombarded with phone calls and text messages from different lenders who've all been sold your information. Instead, we'll reach out to you to present to you the lenders that match your qualifications. And you'll find that right within your NAV account. We may also call you if you've indicated that you want financing right away. We may call you. You can call us, talk over your options, no pressure, and see what may be available. But you'll get details that will help you understand what may be available from the many different lenders that we partner with different types of loan products. So that is certainly a resource that you'll want to check out. Even if you don't, though, I hope you'll take away the other tips that we've talked about here in terms of making sure that you're dealing with a reputable lender and that you're getting the best deal. I mean, ultimately, your financing needs to go to work for you. It needs to make you more money than you're paying for it. If you're losing money on a loan, you're just digging a deep hole. If you are using a loan, leveraging it to make money, that's ultimately where you want to be. And understanding the cost and making sure that you pick the right type of loan is going to help you do that. It's going to help you be successful. So, when do you consider an online lender? Well, it might be that you can't qualify for a traditional business loan. More commonly, what we see is that business owners need a fast decision. They don't have a lot of time. They don't have 2 months for a bank or SBA loan, and they need something quickly. And so an online lender is there to facilitate that. And then finally, you want to explore more options. You don't want to be limited to one particular lender. You want to see what's out there. So once you've set up your NAV account, nav.com, you can see your financing matches in your profile and then hopefully find the financing that's right for your business. So that's a quick overview of how online lenders work. We're always happy to answer questions. So even if you're watching this presentation later and you have a question, please go ahead and ask your question. We'll be happy to try to answer it and help you get the financing that you need to help your business be successful. Thanks for joining us today, and please give us your feedback. Thank you.